Yo, we're back with some more development of the action-packed action game that I'm developing. So, last time, we make sure everything's good. Looks good. Actually, not last time. Off stream, I ended up implementing a few things. Just wanted to do some work off stream. So I implemented headshots. Yikes. Computer froze. But if you look in the middle, the middle of the screen, on the top left, as well as on all of the different instances of games that are running, you'll see the headshot marker. And because I have armor, it takes more than one bullet to kill. Actually shouldn't, yeah, it takes more than one bullet to kill, even with a headshot, because I have armor. The armor is the yellow on the bottom right, and the health is the white. Also did implement the armor, so and I implemented the pickup widget after finish implementing it. Basically, it's gonna tell you the weapon type, the name of the weapon, and when I add attachments, it will show what attachments are on the weapon. So all the weapons have them, and so that's pretty much it. That's all I implemented. And I thought there's actually something I need to fix real quick. With the headshots, the kill feed, confirmed kill notification, is supposed to be black. So let me take a look at that real quick. This right here is supposed to be black. And I can change, I want to change this text to this right here. And I like it to go like that. And I need to change this text as well. But before that, let's just play some music.
Last century will accompany you. Have a nice trip.
Make this a little bigger. And I want it to be all caps, so just change this real quick. supposed to be black. I'm gonna have to add a border to this right here. Right, and this can be, not sure if it's this one or this one. Alright, this is good. Right, and last but not least, I want to update the text. Actually, yeah, let's update all this. See how this looks like. And gotta update the timer. If I can find it, the timer is right here. It seems like, okay. Interesting. I gotta look at how this is implemented. I might have to do something else with this, because right. Let's move this up a little bit, or move this down rather. Okay, I can't do that. Let's move this. See what 15 looks like. Okay, it moves the whole thing. Let's see. There we go. And we can move this back to 10. But now this looks kind of stretched. So let's put this to like 0.7. Yeah, that didn't do anything. So let's put it back to 1. I really don't like, it can't be helped. Doesn't look too bad. Let's try 5. No, that's too much. Kind of want it to be evened, right? I want it to be like leveled out right here. So till I figure out how to do that, I'm just gonna leave it at 10. And last but not least, is compile that. Right. So last thing is the global kill feed. Right. Let's go ahead and change this right here. Same with this. And we can go ahead and increase the size a bit. Right. I think that looks good. probably gonna end up getting rid of this canvas panel because I don't need it for just one thing, right? So, but that's just optimization. But let's see how this looks like. Okay. Kind of, my sensitivity is kind of high, so I do want to reduce it a lot. I like my sensitivity pretty low, like this kind of sensitivity right here. I like this. All right, so I gotta fix that border. Let's fix that border. I see, but it's too like I'm moving my mouse a good bit of distance and it's not moving too much, so gotta have to move it back. Okay, so let's look at this border. Put this on fill already, so yeah, it needs to take up 4. I wonder if I should go in here. Let's see. Okay, that's it. But it's kind of like it's overlapping with the one on the left. Oh no, it's not. Yeah, that's good. But I can reduce the opacity a bit because it's kind of hard on the eyes. So rather the alpha, let's reduce the alpha, make it not so bright or not so dark, but have some tint to it. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, that looks better. And of course, if we get multi kills, it will show that. So I think that's cool. Okay. So what I want to implement next is the if you look right here, I want to take care of this, the lag part of this is part of the lag compensation that I'm gonna do. Well, it's not really compensating for lag, but it's just notifying the player that they're lagging, right? And actually, I know this is for like packets. I'm not sure what this is for, so let's look. Right, so this is packet. Oh, this is extrapolation. Alright, so this is like for repositioning the character and whatnot. It's all part of this part of lag. So I'm just drinking some coffee. This is part of lag compensation. Extrapolation is, if I'm not mistaken, when you're, for example, if your character's moving, well, this is the server, so it's not a good example, but if a client is moving and it's continuously moving in one direction, the the server is estimating the next position where you will be, right? And it's sending that position to all the other clients. Considering that you remain moving in that direction, everything will, or rather granted that you remain moving in that same like velocity. So if I'm running this way and I continue to run this way and I don't have the best internet connection, the server will predict the location where I'll be at in the future and send that future location to all the other clients so that they can have that predicted location that I'll be at, so that it doesn't look like I'm lagging even if I am lagging. I believe that's what extrapolation is. I may be confusing that with interpolation, but I believe interpolation is when the server is or rather when the clients they have the position where the updated position that gets sent to the server, and they also have a stored location of where the respective character was in the past. And it's basically interpolation interpolates your character to the new location from the previous location, so you're always a little bit in the past, so you're always interpolating to the future basically, right? So of course I'm nowhere close to being an expert at this stuff, but we know that this is extrapolation. So but I'm probably gonna use them together, and I actually want this one to be on top, I want this one to be up here, and this to be down here, right? So this is 2311.5. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this, actually I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna move this up here, and I want them to be crap. Let me just copy this. 2311.5, right? And this one, wait a minute, I did copy it, but crap. Okay, this is 2251.5, so I'm gonna copy this, or rather remember it. 251.5, right? -251.5, -251.5, right? And we'll go ahead and implement this. So let's do this. All right. Now this is a U image, and actually need to set the render opacity to 0. So that, and I need to create an animation for them. This one's not gonna have an animation, just this one. So I can set the render opacity to 0. So by default it will be 0. And for this one, I'll rename it to packet data, and this will be extrapolation data. this one's gonna have the animation, so just create an animation and call this packet data loss, and I'll name it animation. Thanks. Yo, what's up, Hamza? How you doing, man? I pray you're doing well and everything's going well in your life. Just over here working on this game. We're gonna add a new track, packet data, and I'm going to animate the opacity, right? So let us animate the render opacity, and I want it to blink, so around 4 times. So let me turn on the timer.
Last century will accompany you.
So
Have a nice trip.
around 0.7 seconds. And okay, so around 0.7 seconds is a blink. So 0.35. So I'll say point around 30 right here. I want to set the render opacity to 0, and then at 0.7 I want to set it to 1, right? And it'll look like this. And it'll loop, so look like this when it's lagging. Yeah, that's good. And I can set this render opacity to 0. Okay. And we can go ahead and bind these widget components to my C++ class. So we need 2 images, right? Because these are images, and I actually want if I do that, let me just make sure my stream's good. Just looking at my other screen. And looks good. Yep. All right. So just want to bind both of these to 2 images, right? So create 2 new ones, and this will be they have to have the exact same name. So this will be weapon type icon. Sorry, this will be packet data. This will be extrapolation data. Okay. And we have to set this using the player controller and the HUD class. So let's go ahead and open up. We need this one open because we have to declare function to set it, and we are using an inherited class of this class, so it's going to be overridden. And the name of the function that we're going to override is going to be a virtual void, and we're going to call this notify. What do we call this? We're not setting anything, we're notifying the player, right? So notify the player that they're lagging. So what's a good name for this function? I can name it display display network need a word for what that describes like bad network conditions. Displays what's a synonym for struggling? A synonym for struggling. Let's see. Substandard. Display substandard network conditions notification. Something like that. Display inadequate network condition notification. Substandard or inadequate. One of these. I like one of these. Display poor network conditions. Alright, that's simple. Right. Display poor network condition notification. Okay, and go ahead and override this. Well, it's not, we're not overriding it yet, but fully qualify it by adding this definition. It's gonna be overridden, so go ahead and copy this. Okay, and copy this right here. And we can go to our Firefight HUD, and this is where we're gonna override it. Right. And we can go ahead and define this, or rather declare it, so it's fully qualified within the header file. So we're gonna fully qualify it right here. Okay, let's go ahead and define this function by calling super. All right, now let's see how we set the HUD health. We can copy. I want to keep my syntax as close. I want them to be almost identical, but I don't have to change too much. So we can use probably this one, right? Let's see. So we're checking if the Firefight in-game widget is valid, and let's create 2 getters for each of these. It's going to return a UImage pointer. So first one's going to return this one, and we're going to call this get packet data. Let's rename this to icon. Right. So get packet data icon, and this one be get extrapolation data icon. And then right here, we're going to check if they're valid. So we're going to see if this is valid, and this is valid, right? Gotta make sure they're valid before we access them. And both of them are valid. Actually, I need 2 of these functions because I need one to start setting that. So one of them is gonna start. It's gonna start setting both of these, and the other one is gonna stop setting them or stop displaying them. Set this render opacity to 0. It seems like it wants to zero, 1. This needs to be 1. And this needs to be 0. Right? So it starts off, then it turns on like that. Okay, so we check and see if they're all valid, right? If they're all valid, so this is display. We need another one for hide, right? Hide port network condition notification. And let's go ahead and declare this. And going to declare it here as well, because it's going to be overridden, and we can fully qualify it. Okay. Spec port network condition. Did I miss something here? Oh yeah. There you go. Okay. So over here, what we're gonna do is, okay, let's start with the packet icon data. We're going to access it, and we're gonna call, actually we need the animation as well, because this has an animation, right? So we need to declare an animation for this packet data widget component, because this one has an animation but this one does not. So syntax, we need a uWidget animation, and the name of the animation is packet data loss animation. Okay, so let's go ahead and declare that uWidget. I think it's uWidget animation, and we call it, it has to have the same name. And this has a different binding. Pretty sure it has transient, right? And this bind to widget anim. And needs a transient macro. Transient, I think that's how you spell it. And I need to for declare this, so okay, and then we can get this animation right here. Right, so we need to check if all of these are valid. So let's grab this as well, and over here we're going to check if this is valid. And you know, because this is getting kind of a long check, I'm gonna create a const bool, and I'm gonna rename this to I'm gonna name this boolean valid pointers, and this is gonna be initialized to basically all of this, because I actually have to check one more. Wait, no I don't, but I guess I don't have to create that boolean. But I'll do it anyway, just because it's, nah, screw it, I'm not gonna create it. I'll just put this in a new line like that. There we go. And I'll put this right there. Alright, that looks better. So we're gonna get the packet data icon, and you don't have to set the let me see. I believe we could just play the animation. I don't think we even have to. So let's just try this first. Instead of setting the, I was gonna set the opacity to 1 and then play the animation. but I'm just gonna play the animation because the animation sets the opacity, right? So I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna call play. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to grab this and call play animation, passing in this animation. I believe okay, it's not, it must be the other way around. I need to grab this, right? I'll play. Animation. Right, I need to include it. Let's go ahead and get the include. It is. It is. Now we can play the animation. Interesting. What is the syntax to play the animation? Thought it was play animation, but it seems like I'm wrong. What's the syntax? I'm not sure if I'm supposed to grab this right here. Maybe I'm supposed to. Okay, here it is. You just access the widget itself and call play animation, and then you pass in the animation you want to play. View widget animation, and that will be this animation. Right, and we're gonna start it at this beginning, which is 0, and we want it to loop, let's say 7 times. Okay, so we're playing the animation. Now we need to set the opacity, this one, to 1. And this should take a float. And the float will be 1. So this will set this one visible. No, this will play the animation. This will be turned on. And down here, I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna hide it. And here we're gonna say, and I don't even need this. Well, I'm gonna leave this here just in case I do need it. Right. So I'm going to check if an animation is playing. First I'm checking to see if all of them are valid. And we can also just check right here if an animation is playing. Is animation playing? Well, actually no. There's no reason to check that up there. I need to check it down here, because regardless of whether an animation is playing, I still need to turn the opacity for this one off. So I'm gonna wrap this in a if statement. Right. So if I fight game widget, in game widget, is any animation playing? If there is an animation playing, which there's only one animation in this whole widget, then we're gonna access this and call stop. I'll just put stop animation, and I'll specify which animation, which is this one. Oh, that's not what I was supposed to do. It's supposed to go right here. Right. And then right here, I'm gonna set the opacity back to 0. Right. So that takes care of these, right? But now I need to set these. I need to call these functions, right? So I need to call these when there's lag, and to do that I need to go to the player controller, because that's the easiest way to determine if there's lag. The player controller should be under let's see, here it is. I need this, and from here I can just open up the CPP file right there, and I'm gonna create a new function, and I'm gonna call this function is gonna be it's gonna analyze the lag. Basically, it's gonna determine if we're lagging or not. So I'm gonna call this void analyze network condition, analyze network conditions for instability. I believe that's how you spell it. Take a const float reference, and this const float reference is going to be delta time. So we're going to call this in tick. And while we're at it, I need to actually I can copy these two, and right here, just gonna paste these right here. Right. Let me call this Yeah, I can leave the names the same. And I need to define these functions, and I'll define them here. Right. And we're gonna check if HUD. So we're gonna get access to HUD. So we need to check if the HUD is valid, right? And if the HUD is valid, we're gonna call this function on the HUD. And down here, we're gonna call this function on the HUD. Right, and these two functions be called from this function. Right. And this will be called in tick. So we're gonna call this right here. Passing in delta time. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to create a variable to store. So I want to check. I want there to be a timer that checks the network conditions. Right. So let me think about how I want to do this. Thanks. I had a phone call. Alright, so analyze network conditions for instability. So what I want to do is I want to basically every couple of seconds I want to check to see if the player is lagging, and if the player is lagging, I'm going to call this. And then after a few more seconds, after this is called, if it's the player is still lagging, I'm gonna call this again, right? And if the player is not lagging, then I'll call this, right? And we know here that we set this to loop 7 times, and this is a 70 frame animation playing at 30 frames per second. So it's around a 2-second animation. So it's gonna loop 7 times, which is kind of too much. I mean, it's gonna loop for 14 seconds. That's kind of too much. I'll tell it to loop 2 times, or yeah, 2 times. Actually, let's say 4 times. So that'll be 8 seconds of it looping. So let's see how long 8 seconds is. It starts looping. I think 5 seconds is enough. 8 seconds is kind of too long, so 5 seconds, which means it needs to loop twice. So let's see how that looks like. Actually, I think 3 is good. Like 3. It needs to loop 3 times. Right. So it's gonna loop 3 times. So we're gonna call it. So every 7 seconds, we're going to check to see if the player's lagging, because this is looping 3 times and it's a little bit over 2 seconds long. So I'm just rounding it up to 7. 3 times 2 does not equal 7, but I'm just rounding it up to 7. Right, because the animation is 2 seconds long and we're looping it 3 times. So let's see. I need to create a variable that's gonna be called. I'm gonna call this variable. Call this runtime. Right. It's gonna be a float. And put it right here with a new property. Edit anywhere, or rather edit defaults only. Actually, no, this doesn't need to be edited. This is gonna keep track of how long we've been checking, right? So we're gonna say this equals delta time, right? And then we're gonna check. We're gonna say if this is greater than or equal to. Now we need to put a threshold, right, for the maximum amount of time we want to wait until checking. We're going to call this threshold instead of runtime. And it's going to be initialized to 7 seconds, right? So every 7 seconds. And this can be edit defaults only. Right. And we can give it a category. Category equals lag compensation, I guess. And it's on a private. I'm not sure if I need a allow private access. I might need allow private access. Meta equals allow private access. Right. So this is greater than this, which means we reached the threshold. So every 7 seconds we're gonna check for lagging. We need to get the player state, and the player state, I don't think I have a variable to the player state, so let's create one. And this is gonna be player state. let's forward declare this. Wait a minute. I already forward declared it. Do I have a variable in here? Oh no, I don't have an actual variable, but I did forward declare it because I was using it as the inputs right here. So let's call this animation entertainment player state. We need to initialize this and begin play. I'm gonna say animation entertainment player state equals a cast to this type, and what's being casted is get player state. Right. Is it a template function? It is a template function. So instead of casting, I'll just say it equals get player state. Okay, so this gives us the player state, and then right here we're gonna check. Actually, before we do all this, let's check up here. If this is valid. If this is not valid, I'm gonna return. Right. And since we know it's valid, if we get down here, we're gonna access this, and we're gonna get the function called ping. I think it's called ping. Get ping. Okay, I need to include this player state. So let's go ahead and grab the include, and I thought I already pasted it in here, but I guess I was wrong. Get ping. Right. It's either get ping or ping. Let's see. Okay, it's not get ping, so I guess it's ping. Update ping, get ping. Need the music. So what's the name of this function? It's a get ping or yeah, I thought it was get ping, but I guess interesting. I wonder if I use this, right? Okay, so let's try. Let's try now. If I don't cast it to my type. Right. We change this to a player state. Let's see. It has no member called get ping. I thought it did. Let's check. I swear. Oh, they must have updated it. Okay. Because I remember in the prototype I used get ping. So let's see. Get ping in milliseconds. Turns a float. And this, I want to see what exact ping prefers the exact ping if set only on the server or the local pairs. Prefer the exact ping if set only on the server. Okay. Otherwise, use a replicated compressed ping. Okay, yeah, this is the function. And it's compressed, so we're gonna have to multiply this by 4 because it's supposed to be, oh, it's a float. Oops. It was compressed. If this was an integer. Wait a minute. It already does it for us. It already multiplies it by 4. So we're good. We could just use this function. They really updated it. If we go to the declaration, compressed ping. Yep, it's an 8-bit, but they multiplied it by 4. Right here. To get the exact value. So Epic compressed it, but they give us the exact value. It says replicated compressed ping for this player holds ping in milliseconds divided by 4. But then we see they multiplied it by 4 to give us the exact value of the ping, not the compressed version. So that's cool. So this will work. So right here we could check if the ping that our character currently has, we want to check to see if it's less than or equal to 50, right? Because 50 is like that's when the network conditions start to become unstable. If it's less, if we have less than 50 ping, then what we want to do, I'm sorry, if it's more, the more ping is the worse. We want, that means more is more latent, right? So if it's greater than or equal to 50, and instead of putting 50, let's create a variable. And we'll create a variable here. We'll call this high ping threshold, and this can be 50 milliseconds, 50, I guess 50 milliseconds. So it basically saying if our current ping is greater than 50 milliseconds, which means it takes more than half of a second for stuff to get sent throughout the network, then that's a pretty noticeable lag. You'll be able to feel that. So if we have ping that's higher or equal to this, then what we want to do is we're going to call this function, right? And then after we call this, we want to set this the timer or the runtime until we check this. We want to reset it. So we want to set this equals to 0, right? So this is going to reset this, right? And we need to figure out how to call this, right? So we're gonna set, we just call this, so now it's gonna reset, and it's gonna go here, and if it's greater than this, we're gonna go in here, and then if it's, we're checking if the ping is greater than our threshold, coming in here. If that's not the case, the next time we come in, then we're gonna say else if, or rather just else, the ping that we have is not greater than the threshold, then we're gonna call this, right? So let's just run through this again. Checking the ping using tick. This is a variable that we're storing how, like the runtime of seconds until we check the ping. So every 7 seconds, we're gonna come in here. We're gonna come in this check and say, is this greater than or equal to this threshold? And this threshold right here is right here, 7 seconds, right? So has 7 seconds passed, basically, is what we're asking. We could just write this right here. Has 7 seconds since the last check passed, right? That's what this is saying. And if it has, we come in here, we're checking, and then right here we're checking, does the character have more than 50 milliseconds of lag? That's what we're checking right here, right? Because this is, we set this the high ping threshold to 50, and right here we're getting the ping in milliseconds from Epic's library in the player state, right? And if the character does have more than 50 milliseconds of lag, then we're calling this function here, which accesses the HUD and it calls like this function, which plays the ping, gives us the ping warning, as well as turns this on, right? So in the HUD, you'll get the warning animation and you get the extrapolation. You get the packet data loss animation playing, and you get the extrapolation on your screen to tell you that you're lagging, right? So and once that starts playing on your screen, we're gonna reset this timer up here, right? Otherwise, we're gonna come in here and we're going to say if we're not lagging, we need to check so we're just going to call this, right, which is to hide what's on the screen, the widget, the high ping notifications. We're going to call this function that hides it, and within this function we are checking to see if all these are valid, and we're checking to see if an animation is playing. And then right here we can also check to see if, actually let's just can I get the opacity? Let's see. I don't think I can get the value of the opacity. Opacity. I can get this as, see, oh, right here, it returns it. So we can call this. So we can say if this right here, oops, let's put this in here. We're calling it to see if this render opacity does not equal 0, right? If it does not equal 0, then we're gonna set it to 0. And that takes care of this. So let's go ahead, and what I need to do is compile the blueprint, save it, exit out, and I'm gonna rebuild the entire project using a rebuild. Mikey. Hey, how you doing, Mikey? Mikey Myers. What's up? Hope you're doing well. Pray everything's good on your end. And Hamza's asking, am I available on Upwork? I can't talk about Upwork outside of Upwork because, yeah, it's strict. So they ban a lot of people if you start talking about them with any potential clients outside of the company, that's outside of the website, they'll ban you. So I can't talk about Upwork. Let's see. Oh yikes, I forgot to, I need to actually set the lag on the project to, let's see, I need to open the engine.ini, which is under config. So I'm gonna set lag. I'm gonna develop some artificial lag so we can test out like if everything's working correctly, right? And to do that, we need to create a new like setting, and we're gonna call it's called, I believe it's called packet simulation settings, and this is has to be in square brackets. And we have to initialize a variable within an Unreal Engine called packet lag, and we're gonna simulate like 100 milliseconds of lag. So let's just do that real quick, and we're gonna set this to equal 100. So this will create lag for 100 milliseconds in our project, and we should see that the notification icons pop up on the screen. Yep. So let's go ahead and save this. And what I'm gonna do, because I just did that, I'm gonna delete my intermediate and my binaries, as well as in my plugins. I'm gonna delete my binaries and intermediate, so that when I restart it, it'll rebuild the entire project, because I just made some changes to the configuration files. So Unreal Engine will start on its own when, okay, it's telling me to build from the source. So let's just build from the source, and we'll restart. Okay, it seems like it's saying I cannot open the include components. Let's see what that says. Okay, is this widget right here. Let's take this out. That's why I couldn't rebuild it. And I'm just gonna get ready to launch the editor. Okay, I'm getting more errors. It seems like I missed something. Let's see. It says it does not take 0 arguments. So let's see what. See what I'm missing here. And I might have to. There we go. Oh right, I need to pass in this. Right, and this says direct access to random passes is deprecated. Please use the getter or setter. Please update your code to the new API before upgrading to the next release. Otherwise, your project will no longer compile. Okay. So Is it get render opacity? Is that the function name? Right? Let's see. And I can actually, well, let's see if this getter would work. Because they don't want us to use just a straight variable name. They got rid of it, and they're saying that we need to update our code to match their code, right? So this is the, I didn't get a warning, so this must be the getter. Yep, get render opacity. It's nice. Okay, let's go ahead and open up the project. We can go ahead and close these functions down and let's try out. Okay, does it fail to compile? Why did it fail to compile? It's saying packet data icon of type image was not found. It's not found. Okay, it's saying it wasn't found. What is this? This is a U image, right? And yeah, that's a U image. This is a U image as well. So I'm confused as to why it's saying it wasn't found. A required widget binding packet data icon of type image was not found. Required widget binding of extrapolation data of type image was not found. So it's saying it's not finding the widget, right? It's not, I mean, it's not finding the binding. Oh, wait a minute. Let me, I think this is why. I forgot to do that. Yikes. And let me build it again, I guess. Yeah, because it's right here, and I did bind it, right? So, there has to be something wrong with this. Let me double check this. Let's see. Weapon type icon. Extrapolation data. Packet data. It's very interesting that it's not finding them. Wait a minute. That's why. I didn't rename them. See how it's see how it says icon right here? And this didn't say icon at first, it just said packet data. Right? So I couldn't find it. So I have to make sure they all have the same exact name. Packet data icon, extrapolation data, icon, and that should be it. Yep. Alright. see this lag. I can definitely sense the lag because I'm pressing fire now and there's like a little lag. Yet I don't see the yeah, see, if you look at my crosshairs, like they're gonna spread apart and then you're gonna see the bullet. See? So the lag is being simulated, but the widget's not being set. So let's check my code right here, checking if this is valid, if this is valid. Right, and we're playing the animation. We're setting the render opacity, or is it set render opacity? Yeah, this is set render opacity. So I'm assuming I have to set the render opacity for this widget as well because the opacity is 0. So let's grab this. Right. And we're gonna set the render opacity to 1. And then down here, if any animation's playing, we're going to stop the animation and we're going to set the opacity. Wait, this okay, so we can take care of the opacity there. Right here we need to set the render opacity to 0. Let's see how this works. I definitely feel the lag, but I don't see it. I don't see the... Let me check to see if they're anchored. Yeah, they are. They're definitely anchored. So it's not. This is the problem. Usually when that happens, I usually have to exit out because I just rebuilt. I just made some changes. So let me rebuild it one last time. I'm pretty sure this will fix it. High ping animation. Let's see. Right, so let's hope this works. Okay, it's still not working, so let's go to the controller where everything's being called from, and right here I'm going to print something to the screen. Just to see if this is being called from up here. Right, should see something on the screen. Let's see, nothing yet. Every 7 seconds, but I don't see anything. So let's copy this line. And let me paste it right here and see if this is being called. Tick. Okay, so tick is working. Tick is working. So come in here and let's see if we're not getting anywhere because this is not valid. Okay, so it seems like this function is not being called because this is not valid, right? Yeah, so the question is, why is this not valid? We're saying it in begin play, right here. So I think we do have to cast it. Equals a cast. Let's just try casting it. Casting it to just type and what's being casted is this. I think this is where I messed up. Thought I could just use this function by itself, but I think I do actually have to cast it. So let's start over. And still saying it's not valid, right? So let's go to the header file and check to see we have the class right here, or declared it, included it. So right here, the best I can think of doing is saying, is this valid? If it is valid, you're gonna say this equals, is this valid? If it is valid, then we're gonna set it equal to this. Otherwise, we're gonna set it equal to this. So let's see how this works. Because maybe I think begin play is too soon. There we go. Now it is valid. And we see it working. If we look at the ping, see? So the ping's working, and Let's see when it's not gonna turn off because I'm artificially simulating lag, right? So it's never gonna turn off. And you could tell it's really lagging. Right. Everything's taking forever to activate. And yeah, you can really see the lag. Gosh. So this is what it's gonna be like to play on my game with lag, with pretty bad lag. It's gonna be pretty unplayable. Cause I can't even do simple actions like see. Let's see. So yeah, lagging. It's working. So I can go ahead and turn this off because can't even test it like this. It's too bad. Shine. And we can grab another weapon and see just how bad it is when I shoot a fully automatic weapon. And let's grab a shotgun. Can't even pick up the weapon. And we didn't even see the kill notification on the left. On that kill. That's how bad the lag was. Look at that. So there's a lot more lagging compensation techniques that I'm gonna implement, but actually I didn't implement any yet. So, and I wonder if I have to, let's see, right here, I'm gonna comment this out, and I'm gonna comment this out, because the animation takes care of setting the opacity, and when I stop playing the animation, actually yeah, I do have to, I'll just leave it, because I might stop playing the animation halfway through and the opacity will be like at 0.5 or something, so I'll just leave them. And yeah, so let's move on. First things first, I gotta turn off the lag. And this should be I gotta figure out the way. I know there's a way to set lag within like the editor, but I forgot. So I'll Google that when I'm finished. But for now, I'll just go back to the config files. And this is default. No, this isn't the right file. It's engine.ini right here. And I can copy that, or I can do a quick screenshot, right? Save that. call this engine INI lag simulation, right? Syntax. And I will again, I'm gonna delete intermediate binaries, and I probably don't have to delete this in the plugins folder, but I'll do it anyway. And then when I restart, it should rebuild it for me successfully without lag. I gotta figure out what the next goal is. Got what I put as my goals. Yeah, I did part of this, so I'll just mark this off right now. Next, I gotta do grenades and sniper scope. Okay. So for grenades and sniper scope, before I do that, I want to set the character to spawn with random weapons, because I have all these weapons, and right now the character is only spawning with a sniper rifle. See? So just for development, I want to randomize what the character spawns with. And of course, when the game is released, you'll have loadouts. So to do that, I'm going to, yikes, I forgot to delete this. And instead of calling this up here, I'm gonna call this over here. So if this is not valid, I'm gonna say this equals so if it's not valid, I'm gonna say this equals a cast to this. Maybe I don't have to cast it. Let me try without casting it. And then instead of returning, I'm gonna check. I'm gonna say if, I'm gonna check again. I'm gonna say if this is not valid, then I'll return. Right. Of course, there's no way for me to know. So I'll just call this up here. And I should see the lag notifications. Yep, we saw it. See? So it does work. So this is good. I delete this? Should see it pop back up. Okay, interesting. Just want to make sure this is working. Before I move on. Okay. See, it's valid, but the animation's not playing for some reason, so let me go back here real quick and see why the animation's not playing. Because the animation should be playing. Oh, it's getting called every tick. That's why. It keeps restarting. Okay. Well, we know it works because this is on. So we can go ahead and let's go turn that off right here. And we can comment this, remove the comments. And right here, this also needs to be set to 0. And that's it. Or we could just call this, instead of calling it twice, we can just call it down here. So regardless of which one is picked, we're setting it to 0. Yep. All right. So that's enough of that. Let's minimize. And let's open up the combat component. Right. And this might be a really short stream. I don't think I want to do everything else because I'm just not feeling it. So this might be the last thing I do. Let's go to components. I need this open, and I need this open. Okay. First things first, let's create a, so we're gonna have, what the goal is to put all the weapons that we have in an array, and randomly, by random they'll be selected to spawn on the character just for development. Right, and to do that I need to Let's open up the character class. And we'll set it right here. Right. So we'll create put some notes for development only, and this is going to be give the same macro, right, as these. This will be a T subclass of, just copy this right here. This will be a T array. A T array of T subclasses, right? And we'll call this primary weapon class array, because these are the only have primary weapons, only have like multiple primary weapons. I didn't implement too many secondary weapons, explosives and stuff, so it'll just be like this. So we'll go to right here. Instead of doing this, right, I'm first going to select a random weapon to spawn. So I'm gonna say, I'm actually gonna comment this out, and I'm going to copy this. Right, the T subclass of a weapon. And I'm gonna copy this right here. Put this right here. And up here, I'm gonna grab this. Okay, so the first thing is to pick a random element of this array. So I'm gonna say if dot num is equal to 0. Then I'll do this. Else I'll do this. This is for right. So okay, so let's just give it some space. So if there's no elements in the array, just spawn with the primary whatever weapon class is selected here. Right. Otherwise, let's do this. So if this is equal to 0, no, if this does not equal to 0, come in here. Otherwise, do this. Okay, so let's create it. Let's create a random number. Const int unsigned integer 32-bit. Now we can call this random primary weapon class array element, or index or element, it doesn't really matter. And this is going to be initialized to Ukismet math library random int in range, and it's going to be between 0 and how many elements are in this array? -1, right? Because we know arrays are null terminated. So we got the random element that we want to use. Now we say is it primary? Let's create a local a weapon. Wait a minute. We need to pass in. So we need to select, because this takes us to T subclass of. So let's just call this right here, passing in this array, indexing this number, and that's it. Wait, no, first we need to check if it's valid. So we're going to check if this array indexing this element is valid. And it should have a is valid, right? Or not. Is that a valid? I don't think this is the right. I think I need to. Oh, yikes. Let's try contains. Let's see. This array contains. Let's see. Let's see what this input parameter is. 6 comparison type. Nope. I just want to check to see if it's valid. Okay, here it is. I'm pretty sure this takes an integer. Yeah, no, yes. Yep, alright, nice. So this takes integer. And it says test if index is valid, greater than or equal to 0, and less than the number of elements in the array. This is exactly what I want. So if this is valid, then we're gonna call this right here. Right, else we're gonna call this right here. Yep, so either way, character will spawn with a weapon. And okay, so let's go ahead and compile this. Okay, so it can't be unsigned int 32. Go ahead and minimize that. Same for this. And we will, let me actually close out of this and rebuild it. Yeah, so this is gonna be a short stream. I'll stream later on today. But some progress, even a little bit of progress is still progress in the grand scheme of things. So let us be grateful for the progress that was made. And I don't need any of these open. I can go ahead and close these out. Right. And I can put the weapons that they'll randomly select for me to spawn with right here. So let's see how many weapons I have. Assault rifle, put that in the first element. I don't need this open anymore. So we have the assault rifle. We can go ahead and add another element. That would be good. Let's start with on to move up, and so on to move up in a hierarchy. So assault rifle. The next in damage after the assault rifle, the shotgun. The next in damage after the shotgun is a sniper rifle. Next in damage after the sniper rifle is grenade launcher. The next in damage after that is the rocket launcher. Right. So we could test this out, and when I start playing, all of them should have, all the characters that spawn should have different weapons. Or at least they don't have to have different weapons, but most likely they'll have different weapons because it's all randomized, right? So yeah, let's see. This one has a shotgun. Assault rifle. Yeah, so they all have different weapons. Oh, we can test it out again. Both of them have assault rifles, and this one has the rocket launcher. Shotgun. Shotgun. Grenade launcher. And let's see if I can get a different one for each. Rocket launcher, sniper rifle. Doesn't seem like they want to pick. Okay, now they all have, no, these two have shotguns. I want each of them to have one of their own. I'm just trying to see like the probability of this. Rocket launcher, nope. 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 Well, we see it works, but the more weapons you have, the higher chance of everyone having a different weapon. Oh, right now they have different weapons. So, grenade launcher, assault rifle, rocket launcher, and test this out. Right, and then when you kill them and they spawn with a different weapon. This one spawns with the grenade launcher, and this one spawns with a grenade launcher. But let's see, when I kill this one that has a grenade launcher, oh, damage, incredible. I don't know why this one isn't taking damage. Okay, I just killed myself. Gotta fix that. Interesting. I just killed myself. Nowhere to be seen on the screen because it's bugged out. Right. And spawning with different weapons is and if I shoot right there, that's where the other one is. This one's dead, but okay. Well, we see it works, so I'll call it after that. Right. Okay. And they all spawn with different weapons, which is awesome. So just for development, I think this is good. Alright, thanks for stopping by, guys. Stay blessed. Take care. Drink plenty of water and get plenty of rest. Don't forget, all the praise and glory be to the Father God, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, so the grenade launcher needs some work. The grenade launcher doesn't do damage, so I gotta fix that bug. Okay, it does do damage, just has to be a direct hit, which is not the way it's supposed to be. Okay, I gotta fix that because they're direct hits. They shouldn't be direct hits. Right? I should be able to shoot them and inflict damage from quite a distance. Right? But it seems like they're direct hits. Yeah. Alright, well, that's another bug. I'll figure it out. Let me see one last thing. If I aim at it from right there, no damage. No damage. Alright, yep. This let me actually just look at this real quick.